And we are back here on youtube.com backslash wake up call DT, facebook.com backslash wake up call DT, and facebook.com backslash live now DT with Mr. Mike Sofka. We are inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, and that Power Hour is proudly powered by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camille, New York, where you'll be watching all the games this football season as well as having your fantasy football draft. On Sunday, August 29th, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will make their giant party room our headquarters of the draft. We got a giant screen we're going to be utilizing to put up the videos that Mike and I have done for months, to put up all the information, to put up our rankings and whatnot. Mike and I will be helping you draft all the way through Sunday, August 29th, the Wildcat Sports Pub, all day long. We're hosting our on-site, on-location drafts with multiple leagues. If you want to join, send an email to dtstays@gmail.com. You could see it. You could see the ticker underneath me right now saying space is limited. First come, first serve. Couple spots left. dtstays@gmail.com. That's DTSTAYS at gmail.com. We'll be at the Wildcat Sunday, August 29th. Can't wait to see you there. They open at 11. I'll be there before that and drafting all the way through at the Wildcat Sports Pub. So, in the meantime, Mike and I are going to be bringing you our 2021-2022 NFL by division predictions. Division by division order of finish. Folks, all 32 teams will be talked about today. But before that, let's bring in the man. Mr. Sofka, how we doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing well since we saw that the New York King can bleed a little bit up here. So we don't have the same emperor as we wake up this morning in the state of New York.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on any of that stuff. I mean, I could. We could spend a whole couple hours on this, but I do want to bring everybody's attention that our YouTube channel is starting to grow here, and a couple things is in the past week I managed to go to Jags camp and a Jags scrimmage. It's 3 different videos posted up on the Winning Fantasy Football tab. The better news is seeing the way I see things through my eyes when I'm looking at players. I'm looking at what I'm looking at on the field, so you'll get a sense of that because I am the cameraman there. But better yet, all 2 of the videos have over 2,000 hits. One of them's been up 1 week, one of them's been up 1 day, and the other one that's been up 1 day is about 1,000 hits. So I mean, it's good stuff to look at. It's all Jaguars, but you know, I tried to go to the Tampa camp, but that got washed out by rain. They had 6 inches of rain that day. But you know, go over to the YouTube channel and check it out. Lots of people starting to subscribe there. Make sure you're liking the videos, and make sure you check us out on the Facebook group as well, Winning Fantasy Football.
Yeah, I don't even want to comment on 6 inch. When I hear 6 inches of anything, I think of snow. 6 inches of rain? That's insane. So, but, you know, happy that you got to get out to camp, and definitely will be sharing that information so people can go out and take a look at what Mr. Sofka is doing in this wonderful world of sports. We're so happy that you're here with us today. We thank you so much for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. And so we will be getting into division by division. I'm going to bring up the divisions on your screen for those of you on YouTube, as well as on the Facebook, facebook.com backslash live now DT, facebook.com backslash wake up call DT. This is also going to be shared right now, actually, on the Winning Fantasy Football group. So you'll see that in there on Facebook and on youtube.com backslash wake up call DT, as well as on wakeupcalldt.com and listening on mixlr.com backslash wakeupcalldt. The divisions are here inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. 2021-2022 NFL division predictions from left to right on your screen. We have the NFC North, South, East, and West. Beneath that, the AFC North, South, East, and West. All of the logos up there for you, as Mike and I will be giving our predicted order of finish. Mr. Sofka, I hand it to you first. Please, my good sir, tell me how the NFC North will finish 1 through 4.
Yeah, well, you know, there's some open question marks still throughout that division, and what I mean by that is at quarterback. And the Chicago Bears, of course, have Andy Dalton, and then they drafted Justin Fields, and there's some questions as to what's going to happen going in there. Sometimes you want to get that young guy, especially with the talent that he has. You want to get him on the field. But Detroit, I have a question about quarterback at Detroit. Not who's going to play quarterback, but the competency, the ability. There's a reason why Jared Goff's no longer the quarterback of the Rams. And if you looked at Stafford and Goff side by side, Stafford is the better of the quarterbacks. So I'm questioning what they have at quarterback. And then at Green Bay, I'm questioning where the quarterback's mind is. I'm confident as the consummate pro that Aaron Rodgers is, that he's going to have the ability to make something happen like he always does. Packers are a good team, and they're driven by the quarterback. And then Minnesota's got Steady Eddie. They got Kirk Cousins at quarterback, and he's the new Mendoza line guy. He's the guy that's that 15, 16, 17th ranked quarterback usually week in, week out. They used to be Andy Dalton's spot in Cincinnati, but now Kirk Cousins has taken that spot over. So when I consider the fact that there's some question marks at quarterback up and down in this division, it begs the question, what kind of end player are we going to get? Because the quarterback touches the ball every single play. That guy at the quarterback position has got to be on. I take a look at the strength of schedule after that. And when I look at strength of schedule, the Packers have the more difficult schedule. Their schedule ranks number 4th most difficult in the league. And the Lions are at 6. They have the 6th most difficult schedule this year. And this is based on last year's results, obviously. That's all you can go by. You can't. Otherwise, we're just predicting, which is what we're doing now. The Vikings have the 5th toughest schedule. And the Bears, for some reason, I've lost them on my sheet here. Here they are. They got the 3rd. So 3, 4, 5 is the Bears, the Packers, the Vikings, and at 6 are the Lions. So I'm looking for an ugly mess here as far as records go. But I'm going to have to go with my man Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to have to say that he's going to lead Green Bay to the NFC North title. And I'm going to follow that by the Bears and then the Vikings and then the Lions.
Okay, so that's what Mike has for us here. I want to put that in here. So Mike has the predicted order of finish for the NFC North. You have number 1, the Packers, and then Mike has the Bears from here, the Lions, and the Vikings. And interesting that you had it the way that you had it here, Mr. Sofka. I will give mine now. So as I'm putting this up here so everybody can see it, This is Mike's finish for the NFC North. So Mike's prediction is that the Packers will finish 1st, the Bears 2nd, the Lions 3rd, the Vikings 4th. I am going to take a little look at this myself, and I believe, too, in taking a look at the NFC North, I do believe the Packers are going to finish 1st. The reason why I have them there is because, Aaron Rodgers is back. Yes, there's the question of, he's missed some time. Is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to do this? Listen, he's a consummate professional. So if he was a rookie, then I'm thinking certain things. This man's been around the block. He's 38 years old. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to do it. And he's in a position right now to put himself, he's trying to, more than likely, I would imagine, he's trying to get out of Green Bay. And so with him, with just kind of the way he described Green Bay, it begs the question to me of, why is he even there? But obviously they benefit from having him for sure. So I don't want to say he's definitely out. It doesn't look good now. It's not that things can't change, but it doesn't look good in the here and now moment. And, I think he's playing for this year. He's playing for next year. He's playing for somebody to see his worth at that point, 39 years old, and to sign him to a 2 to 3 year contract. So I think that Green Bay is going to be okay. They got my guy A.J. Dillon there to help out in the backfield. They also have, they have Aaron Jones coming back, and they have brought back Randall Cobb, who is a favorite of Aaron Rodgers, as well as the fact that they have Devontae Adams. So they're putting themselves in good footing right now, I believe. And so to me, I think in this division, because there's question marks in Minnesota, because there's question marks in Detroit, and because there's question marks with the Bears, and Mike brought it out so nicely, talking about each of them having, quarterback questions. really every team having a question at quarterback, and even Green Bay having it. But the question is more of how ready is he, and what is he going to do? How is he going to treat this season? So how is Aaron Rodgers going to respond on the field physically? How is he going to respond knowing that this is a team that potentially he's kind of over? So that's the big question mark. But I still think that we have enough here to say that they're going to win the division. So I'm picking them to win it. And then second, I am picking the Bears. Quarterback wise, it is a question mark. Is Justin Fields going to play? When is he going to play? And at the same time, what are they going to do with Andy Dalton and whatnot? But I think the Bears have enough to get to second place, and I think it's very, 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 because Mike and I don't see each other's sheets ever. We never look at each other's paper, so to speak, when we're taking the test. So I did this late last night. I'm laying in bed and I'm going through and giving my rankers here of 1 through 4. And so this is the first time I'm hearing Mike's. I picked the Lions to finish third as well, and I picked the Vikings fourth because I think the Vikings, who have already had some trouble here with COVID and having guys out and this, that, and whatnot, I'm just concerned about the Vikings. I'm concerned about the quarterback situation. I'm concerned about all this stuff that kind of has happened where they didn't have a quarterback to really play here in the preseason and whatnot as they get set for the season and with training camp. So I'm going Packers, Bears, Lions, Vikings, the same as Mike. And I believe the Lions are going to be a bit better than the Vikings. Not as good as the Bears, but as Mike said, it could be ugly. NFC South, Mr. Sofka, we have the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Bucs. And get this, folks, Matt Ryan coming back, Tom Brady coming back, but Carolina and New Orleans both have a new quarterback. So what are your thoughts on the NFC South?
Yeah, I think the quarterback situation in Carolina is going to be okay. I think people have been brutally hard on Darnold, and I think that he's going to show himself. I think he's got some talent at receiver. He's got talent at running back. He's got the pieces around him, and that's going to show through. That's going to be quite evident. Atlanta making the big splash with the big rookie Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is a position, but on a redraft situation, you can't invest that much in him. Almost as much, but not that much. Matt Ryan, consummate professional. He's going to be fine there. Calvin Ridley's going to step up. I think they're going to be okay at receiver. The Saints are where the big question marks are, and that's based on, who's going to be the quarterback. Is it going to be Taysom Hill? Is it going to be Jameis Winston? Mike Thomas still recovering from that ankle surgery. They said that he was supposed to have it earlier in the offseason. He had it later. He's going to be out some of the season with that. And then there's a rift between him and the coach, and then, he's due to $8 million, and $33 million is the cap hit, even if they trade him. So they're just in a rough situation. They really can't trade him. They're really not going to get anything back. He's injured, and then you go a little further south. You go over to Tampa, and they have it all together. They're bringing the band back together. It's incredible. How they were able to bring everybody back, all 22 starters, I just don't know. But they're led by Tom Brady. So, I look at the strength of schedule. The Bucs have the 29th toughest schedule of 32 teams. That's supposed to be the opposite. Aren't you supposed to play the tough competition? The Falcons have the 30th ranked strength of schedule. The Saints have the 22nd, and the Panthers have the 26th toughest schedule. So, I got to go with Tampa as the number one there. I mean, how can I go against Tampa? They brought the whole band back. I'm going to go with Tampa. And I'm going to surprise some people. I'm going to take the Panthers at 2. I'm going to take the Panthers for 2 because I think people are going to underestimate them. And they have talent all over the field. I take a look at the Saints, and I want to give them number 3, but I have to give them number 4 because I think the Falcons are going to be number 3. There's so many questions on the Saints rosters. I think they got some talented players. I think they got a great coach. I think they got a great system. What I don't think they have is their act together yet. And the promises of who's going to lead the team, one of those in contention is Jameis Winston. And my feelings there. The guy, hopefully he's changed a little bit since his time in New Orleans, but he just makes bad decisions, and that doesn't bode well for your team when you're constantly making bad decisions. So, again, I'm going to go with Tampa to win this division.
Yeah, I think it's hard to not go with Tampa to win the division. I mean, look at what they've done. They have Tom Brady. I did not believe he was the GOAT. Let me be clear. A couple years ago, I said he wasn't the GOAT. And I got about no less than 500 messages from Patriots fans on Twitter alone. And I didn't say he wasn't like in the top 2. I just said he wasn't number 1. I don't think he's the best pure passer of all time. I think you can argue Marino and all that. Like pure passer, just like step back and throw down the field. But Brady is the GOAT as far as, the champion. He went to Tampa, who was like a nothing team. It was like a 4-win team. It was the only team at one point that didn't go to the playoffs from the NFC South. Like the entire NFC South went to the playoffs except for the Bucs. So, to me, doing what he did last season without Belichick in his first season there at 3 years old, he's the GOAT now. I got to pick the Bucs first. You got Godwin, you got Mike Evans, you got all these guys. Leonard Fournette is back with Ronald Jones. You got your defense and guys flying around all over the field. Got a ton of depth of defense. This is a good. This is a team. Somebody said to me, Dan, who's winning the Super Bowl this year? I think 2 people asked me, and I just kind of just over my shoulder. I was like, the Bucs. I just kind of looked over who else is going to win? It's Tampa, wherever Tom Brady is. So I think that they have a chance of going back to the playoffs, obviously, and making a splash. So I'm picking the Bucs first. I'm picking the Falcons second because Matt Ryan, I want to believe in him. I want to believe he's got some more in the tank. They got Kyle Pitts. They got Calvin Ridley. They got other guys stepping up. So there's some good stuff there. The running back situation could be improved by Mike Davis, who was the backup in Carolina to Christian McCaffrey and filled in pretty well. Fantasy owners know that last year. So I think the Bucs are going to be first. The Falcons are going to be second, squeaking by the Panthers. The Panthers are going to be third. And I agree with you, Mike. I don't think anybody's expecting anything from Carolina, and that can help you play free. So I think Sam Darnold getting Robbie Anderson, those guys finding each other again, Matt Rule having the connection to Temple, and some of that squeaking through. Christian McCaffrey coming back, hopefully 100% healthy or as close as he can be. Hopefully he gets to 100% during the year if he's not at 100% yet. Some of the stuff in the draft that they brought in, I think Carolina's going to be in good shape. And I think the Saints got to be fourth. I agree with you. Because I don't buy Jameis Winston as your starting quarterback. I don't think you should go from Drew Brees, who was the guy that won you a Super Bowl against Peyton Manning and the Colts, to Jameis Winston, who throws 30 touchdowns to 33, or 30 interceptions to 33 touchdowns. Jameis is talented. He can throw all over the field. The problem is sometimes he throws to the jersey he knows, and sometimes he throws to the other one. So I don't see him being the future. I lean more on Taysom Hill, but I think I can't lean on New Orleans right now because I don't know if they've figured it out. And if they haven't figured it out, then how can we figure it out? I'm not sold that either one of these guys is your quarterback of the future. So, and I know they brought in a rookie quarterback from Notre Dame, Ian Book. So that could be your future in a couple of years. But as of right now, New Orleans with Michael Thomas and whatever's been going on with him, is he injured? Is it COVID? Does he just not want to play? With all of that coupled with the quarterback situation, the Saints, to me, believe it or not, I didn't know I was going to say this at any point in recent history, the Saints have the more question marks than anybody else in the NFC South. Used to be the Bucs, definitely the Panthers, could have been the Falcons, now it's the Saints. So because they have more questions than everybody else and no answers that I think there's nothing that makes me feel like, okay, this is the team, this is what they're doing, this is where they're at. So, I just can't lean on them. And it's as simple as that. So that's why the Saints are fourth for me as well. Moving on to the NFC East. Last season, we thought a team was going to not only go to the playoffs, but host a playoff game with 4 wins at one point. These teams last year were atrocious. It was a dumpster fire. Well, now Dak Prescott got paid and he's back from injury. The Giants have tried to help their offensive line. Saquon's coming back, and they actually got some wide receivers of note, like Kenny Golladay. Philadelphia has put all their eggs in the basket of Jalen Hurts, and Washington is trusting in Old Faithful, Paul Bunyan, a.k.a. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Mike, what are your thoughts on the NFC East?
When you talk about the NFC East, you always got to start off with the Cowboys, and I think there's a good reason for that. They're usually a pretty good team. They've been known as America's team in the past, and you look at the team, you look at what they have on the field. You look at the receivers, they're stacked, they're loaded. You look at the running back, loaded. You look at the quarterback, some say loaded, some say not. I say he is. And then you go to the next team that comes to mind, and that's got to be the Eagles. The Eagles have that change at quarterback with Jalen Hurts. They drafted another wide receiver and Devonta Smith after drafting Jalen Reagor last year. They didn't think Zach Ertz was going to be back, but he's back now, for now. And Dallas Goedert, of course. My question for the Eagles is on the defense. Speaking about defense, the team with the best defense, at least by math and at least by last year's performance, was the Washington football team. They have stellar defense. They have the change of quarterback with Ryan Fitzpatrick coming in, and he looks like a guy who's a Harvard guy. He's a smart guy. He's the antithesis of Jameis Winston. He throws interceptions sometimes, but simply because something else has occurred. And maybe he's not as physically talented as a Jameis Winston, but he's a lot smarter, makes better decisions on the field. So I think that's gonna bode well for Washington. Then you take a look at the Giants. Is Saquon going to really be healthy coming out week 1, or is he going to be a couple weeks delayed? How's that receiving corps going to respond? What's going on at quarter? What's going on at tight end? There's so many questions there that I've yet to have answered. It's really hard to put your faith behind the Giants as of late. So I'm going to go with Dallas finishing first. I'm going to go with Washington surprising some people and finishing second because of that defense and because of the mental aptitude of the quarterback on that team. I'm going to go with the Eagles third, and I'm going to go with the Giants bringing up the celery in the NFC East.
Yeah, so you got Cowboys, and again, Washington doesn't have a name, so I have to put Washington. And then the Eagles third, and going with the Giants fourth. Well, mine is a little bit different here. Some the same, some different than Mr. Sofka, as we give our prediction division by division in order of finish from 1 through 4 inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Wildcat, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Open 7 days a week, indoor and outdoor seating, and a volleyball court. And you can call them for takeout and delivery at 315-487-2222, and for catering, 315-487-2222. So, my NFC East look is going to be, like I said, a little bit similar to Mike, a little bit different. I got the Cowboys at number 1. Listen, the return of Dak Prescott, coupled with the fact that they have Michael Gallup, they have CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper, to have all of that coming back for you, plus Ezekiel Elliott, there's some good there for the Dallas Cowboys. Defense, I think they'll be able to do. The thing is, this team can outscore teams. So if their defense struggles in certain areas, they'll still be able to find a way. And so I'm going to give them credit where credit is due. But where I'm going to be different is I'm going to put the Giants at 2. I think the Giants, again, like the Panthers, playing free, they have nothing to lose. They're helping their offensive line. Saquon is back. They have receivers of note. If Evan Ingram can be what the expectation was a couple of years ago, there's something left in the tank there that I think I'm giving him more credit than maybe some other people are. And so I'm kind of leaning on him a little bit to take some charge here. The Giants have made moves to get better. The Giants have made moves to finally address some issues, not put it all on Saquon, not put it all on, Daniel Jones when he's got receivers out there that nobody knows. So with this team making decisions that they should have made 2, 3, 4 years ago, I would like to think that the Giants, they may not be that close to the Cowboys. They might end 2 or 3 games behind. But second place. Third place, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, to me, I'm not sold on Jalen Hurts being your all-time 100% starter, but I'm willing to look at it. They got about 72 running backs, and 5 or 6 of them could find their way to being a starter. So, their rushing attack, if they can figure it out and balance it out, there's some good to be had there. And I think, the Eagles have something to offer here. I'm not completely sold on their ability to be above 500. So that's why they're third. Washington is fourth, and it's not because I don't believe in Fitzmagic. I do. And he's the one thing I do believe in there. And like Mike said, their defense has been strong, but, offensively, running the ball and receiving and whatnot, there's a lot of question marks. Now, Fitzpatrick can make you better, but is he going to be there all season? Is he going to be consistent? And he's gotten better with time, like a fine wine. Paul Bunyan is continuing to just chop down those trees, whatever division he goes into. But the questions that are there with Washington, with the weapons that they have offensively, it's not that I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick can make them better. It's just how much better can Washington be? So at this point, with their current situation, that's why they're going to be fourth for me, because I think the Giants have gotten better personnel-wise. I think Washington got better with bringing in Ryan. But again, is he playing all season? And if he's not, who else is coming in? So some question marks there for the Washington football team, which is why I put them fourth. Mike, before we hop into a fast break, your thoughts on the NFC West?
Yeah, this is an exciting division for me. I look at the quarterback situation again. I always look at the quarterback first. It's like when you're looking at a baseball game, you look at who's starting pitching on both sides. But the quarterback again is so instrumental, and this division has some very good quarterbacks in it. Leading the way with Kyler Murray. How can you not look at him right away? He has the firepower at receiver. Defense, they've made some improvements. I think they're going to be able to put up the points. Hopefully they'll be able to stop some people as well. You look at the Rams, and they got Stafford coming in, and they have some talent. They're in a win now mentality. That window is going to start closing. Remember, they traded a lot of the future.
We lost Mike here for a second, but we'll be bringing him back. Get him back on the line here so we can hear from Mr. Sofka. Get him back on the line, as we lost him here momentarily. We'll get him back here with us. And once we get Mike back, we'll be able to hear the rest of his thoughts here on what's going on inside of this division. So, yeah, we got you, Mike. We lost you for a second. Go ahead.
That's all right. I was just saying Kyler Murray is the epitome of the quarterbacks in this class, in this division here. And I like the Rams. I like Stafford. Stafford's got some weapons around him. And, again, they're in a win-now mentality because the Rams have traded a lot of their future draft capital to acquire players like Jalen Ramsey and Matt Stafford. Then you take a look at the best quarterback overall, especially when you look at playoff wins and losses, and that's Russell Wilson. This is a guy who's 6-2 in playoffs. This is a guy who has firepower at receiver. They have a running back by committee led by Chris Carson. He's going to be the primary guy, but his injury situation every year seems to hold him up at the end. Then I go over to San Francisco, and they got the most interesting situation with Trey Lance being drafted, Garoppolo suffering from his best ability, and that's availability. It seems like he can never stay on the field. It seems like the talent's been there, but they say Trey Lance could be the next Kyler Murray. So when you consider all those things, and you take a look at the strength of schedule, the Rams got the most difficult at 10 on the strength of schedule. The Seahawks are tied at 11. The Cardinals are at 13. And then the 49ers are tied at 19th for strength of schedule. So that doesn't come into play because they're relatively close. So I don't think that comes into play as much as the team and what these teams are able to do. I think the Cardinals are going to finish first in this division, followed by the Seahawks, followed by the Rams, and then everybody like San Fran. They're everybody's darling. I think the questions at quarterback are going to haunt them early on in the season, and it may make it tough to recover. So I'm going to have the 49ers, believe it or not, bringing up the cellar in this division.
And just a couple of years ago, they were in the Super Bowl, and now we're looking at the fact that they are at the bottom of the barrel of the NFC West, according to Mike. My thoughts on the NFC West are not that much different when you look at the 49ers. I do think they're going to struggle. I agree. I think I think the question mark with Jimmy Garoppolo. I said to Mike years ago on the show, I said, I'd like to see what a healthy year looks like under Jimmy Garoppolo. And what did that healthy year look like? They made it to the Super Bowl. But beyond that, has he stayed healthy? No. And it's unfortunate for him, and God willing he does from here on out. But Jimmy Garoppolo, he finally got the reins to a team. And all the guys backing up Tom Brady, they went to other teams. They got paid a ton of money, the Matt Castles of the world and whatnot, right? And they went to other teams, and they fell flat. Well, Jimmy Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl, lost to Kansas City, Pat Mahomes and company, and he hasn't stayed healthy. So, and now his reign looks like it's over. Trey Lance, they drafted up from 12 to 3. The Niners trading up 9 spots to go get Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, who had only played one season. So they're really banking on his potential and what they expect out of him based on the little bit that they've seen on film. So to take a plunge like that on a guy who played one season of college football as a starter and to trade up 9 spots to do it, I think the writing's clear with Jimmy Garoppolo. He better get it done. He better get it done quick if he even gets an opportunity to. But they know he's injury prone, and that's going to be an issue moving forward. It's a sad day to see that Jimmy Garoppolo looked like he was going to be the only quarterback behind Tom Brady of the Patriots that actually made some hay and backed it up once he left New England. All these guys made hay but didn't back it up. Well, he was, but he got hurt. And now it looks like they're going to be shifting gears to Trey Lance. So San Francisco, who's had a ton of injury last year, I was surprised they could even field the team with all the COVID stuff they had going on. And, do they even have 53 players to play this week? So that, and I think they had to play a couple games in Arizona for the end of the season because of COVID and all that stuff. So, San Fran's been through a lot. I would like to feel that adversity makes us all stronger because I believe that. And I hope that they do better than this, but I don't see them being better than 4th because there's just what's going to happen. You paid Jimmy a bunch of money. Now you went and drafted Trey Lance. He's a top 3 pick. What are you going to do? So I think at the top of all of this is the Seahawks. Now, I know the Seahawks, listen, I said about the Cardinals, and I'll talk about them in a second. I said some stuff about them last year that I think is still true. But Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, their rushing attack getting better, Chris Carson coming back. I think there's something to be had here with Seattle and getting fans back in the stands, the 12th man. So my hope is that the Seattle Seahawks, I believe that they're going to, I shouldn't say my hope, I think they're going to squeak by. I think the division's going to beat up on each other. I really do. But I think Seattle's going to be able to do enough. Second, I'm going to put the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals, I said last year, I said, watch out. They could be a dark horse to make the playoffs, and they were close. I think this year, they start to shorten the gap even more so. The Cardinals are very close to taking this division. And you know what? I kind of hope they do. Because they've been the little brother for a long time. Remember when they were in the NFC East and they were always at the bottom? When there was 5 teams in the East, the 4 they have plus the Cardinals? And the Cardinals were always at the bottom of the barrel. They were beat up on all the time. Well, now I think the Cardinals have risen. And they have so much talent. And they brought in A.J. Green for his swan song. And they mixed up the running back, the backfield with James Conner, which I think is great. And James Conner has beat cancer. He's beat leg injuries. So I think he can beat the fact that Pittsburgh has no respect for him. So Arizona's going to be number 2. Number 3 for me has got to be the Rams. I was going to put the Rams at 2, and I really thought about doing it. But I think that there's going to be some head-scratching moments with the LA Rams. Not as many as the Niners. So I have them at 3rd, and then the Niners are bringing up the back end at 4. I agree with Mike. I think they're going to be in the basement and only a couple years removed from the Super Bowl yet. If they want to really put them out there this season. With that being said, Mike and I will take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, the entire AFC will be predicted. Order of finish for the North, South, East, and West right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. You are here with us in the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. We appreciate you being here, hanging out every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and Mike and I will have plenty more to say right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, Flavorful ice cream, not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream, fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carbolite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, Carbolanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carbolite ice cream. Carbo the way. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Call DT. Mike Sofka of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com and the Winning Fantasy Football Group, as well as Winning Fantasy Football on YouTube, is here with us today, as he is every single Wednesday, hanging out where sports meets that thing called life inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Open 7 days a week for indoor and outdoor dining. And, of course, open 7 days a week for takeout and delivery, as well as catering. Call 315-487-2222 for more information. That's 315-487-2222. Mike, it is time for us to continue on inside the Cafe Kubal studios into the AFC and give our predicted order of finish for each of these four divisions. We'll start with the North. Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you got?
Well, it must be something with the North. North has the toughest schedule combined up against, everyone else based on last year's results. And the AFC has an even tougher schedule. And that's with the Steelers with the toughest schedule, followed by the Ravens at 2. And at 6 are the Bengals. And at 9 are the Browns. I combine that with, just look around. Look what's going on with each team. The Steelers lost an offensive line. They gained a tremendous running back in the draft. They have 3 outstanding receivers, but Roethlisberger's getting a little long in the tooth. And without an offensive line, and with him being under center more like they think, more dedicated to the run, they're going to try to shorten games by keeping that clock running, not so much on the receiving. Those receivers are all ranked in the mid to high 20s. They're all wide receiver 2s or 3s, even though they have great names and Ben chucking them the rock. Then I take a look at Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow is back. And what do? They bring in his old college buddy, Jamar Chase. They got T. Higgins in the fold. They got Joe Mixon. They got some weapons. Then I look over at the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, they got Lamar Jackson. They got J.K. Dobbins. They're searching for hope at wide receiver. They always have a stellar defense. So with all those things considered, one more thing, though, going back to the Browns with Stefanski being coach of the year last year, Baker Mayfield, this is a contract year coming up for him. They have solid running back. They re-up Nick Chubb, and they got Kareem Hunt in the fold, and they got some dynamic receivers as well. So I think they're a team that's on the rise, definitely. As a matter of fact, there's so much on the rise, I'm going to pick them to win the AFC North, the Cleveland Browns. That's right, the Cleveland Browns, followed by the Ravens, followed by Cincinnati, the Bengals, and bringing up the rear is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers with a woeful offensive line.
Yeah, and they lost Villanueva. That's the thing to really look at. So, this division has been owned by the Steelers in recent history for a very long time. People kind of set it and forget it. You kind of just say, okay, you know what? That's the team. They're going to win the division. That's fine. Let's move on. And that's not the case now. And I agree with you, Mike. I think Pittsburgh is going to struggle. I really do. Big Ben has allegedly contemplated retirement, more than once here. And as he sits and tries to, listen, without him, we know what they are. We know what they are without him, and they have more than struggled without him. So I think, if anything, at any point, if he goes down and Mason Rudolph's got to be the guy, and Josh Dobbs, who spent, a heartbeat in Jacksonville, is back with the Steelers, came back last season. This is a scenario where, Big Ben's health comes into question. Like you said, strength of schedule. They have the toughest schedule in the nation of any one of the 32 NFL franchises. So you put that with the fact of Big Ben, can he stay healthy? And they got rid of James Conner. Now they brought a bunch of people in to play running back, and that's all good. And, Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster, they're duking it out. James Washington's on his last leg there. Chase Claypool is, what can he do? He was kind of a sleeper last year in fantasy. But, and they brought in Pat Freiermuth to help out Eric Ebron, who was a guy that Mike and I thought might go to Jacksonville if Travis Etienne wasn't there, which he was, and they took him as I thought they should. So Pitt has some weapons, but it's about health. If Ben goes down, you got Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins, and Josh Dobbs. So this team, I don't know if Big Ben's going to be playing 17 games this year, as they added an extra game. So that's a big-time question mark. Looking at other things, Baltimore, listen, the Ravens are supposed to be good, right? Last year, they weren't as good as people were hoping. They were 11-5, which, darn it, that's pretty dang good, but they weren't what people expected. Now, they come back with a bunch of talent. They added some more talent onto their team. They brought in Sammy Watkins and whatnot. And so, they brought in Calais Campbell, my guy from Jacksonville in recent history. He's still there. So there's some things that I think Baltimore is going to have to figure out. It's worked with Lamar Jackson, but he's got to make sure that he's at his best. This team has to find a way to rally around him and do what they need to do in this running game. Is J.K. Dobbins really going to be dominant there in the backfield? And is Lamar Jackson going to trust him to be dominant there? Is he going to want to take the ball more often? So Baltimore has some questions, but they come back with a lot of talent. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow bailed me out of a bunch of weeks before he got hurt as a rookie in the NFL at quarterback. Like Mike said, they brought in Jamar Chase. They also, are trying to, T. Higgins is a guy who he linked up with a lot last year. That was positive for them. I think Cincinnati is growing here in the right direction. Finally, the Marvin Lewis years were just banging your head against the wall. What's the definition of insanity? Now it looks like they're trending upward. And the Cleveland Browns, they're supposed to be better. They're supposed to be good. But I'm not as sold on Baker Mayfield as I would be on a Joe Burrow. And I know Baker spent more time in the NFL than Joe, but I'm going to pick the Ravens to finish first in this because I think the Ravens have enough to do it. But I'm picking the Bengals second. I think the Bengals have a lot to offer this season in upside. The Browns, I just still have questions with Baker Mayfield, so I'm going to put them at third, and the Steelers at fourth. So a little bit different than Mike's here. He's got the Browns first. I have them at third. We both have the Ravens in the top two. But I think the Bengals are going to be the team that kind of shocks some people. Where Mike thinks it's going to be the Browns, I think it's going to be the Bengals. What I do know is when they play each other twice a year, their games are always close, highly contested games, usually down to the wire, and one of them usually gets into the 30s, so that's something to look at. The AFC South, Mr. Sofka, what do you got?
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting because it's, almost a changing of the guard. And the biggest question throughout the whole division is the status of Deshaun Watson. Supposedly he's not going to play in the preseason game, or, quote, he's unlikely to play, according to the organization. Question marks around civil and possible criminal charges, 22 different lawsuits going on, supposedly, off-field distractions. Plus, before this, he was saying he wanted to be traded, and he stood by that. Now, he's reported to camp and done everything he's supposed to do, but he hasn't been taking snaps. He hasn't been taking any reps. He's been kind of working off to the side. All of a sudden, he has an ankle injury. All these things come into play. What's that mean? That means Houston's having a hard time to get 3 first-round picks for him, especially with all that off-the-field baggage. Deshaun Watson's turning into Jameis Winston. That's not the direction you want to go in, and that's a bad direction for your team. They got so J.J. Watt is gone, so I'm not feeling good about Houston at all. Indianapolis, I was feeling all kinds of fuzzy feelings for when you consider Reich is getting, his quarterback back from his days in Philadelphia, and Carson Wentz. Then Carson Wentz goes down. He's possibly out a couple weeks, 5 to 12 weeks. And then you got to wonder, how confident is he going to be with that foot after that surgery? Got to take a look at Jacksonville. Jacksonville seems to have things going in the right direction. They got a new coach. They got a new spirit. They have a great running back. They have another great running back. James Robinson and Travis Etienne are going to be wonderful together. Yeah, they have the team darling, the fan favorite, who's selling all kinds of jerseys right now, and Tim Tebow. And more importantly, they have Trevor Lawrence, who's considered by some to be the next great thing, and he's been talked about like that since his days in Cartersville, Georgia in high school. So this is a guy who's carried that weight of the world on his shoulders for a long time, and he's able to continue doing that with Jacksonville. And Jacksonville is loaded at receiver. I mean, they let D. Westbrook walk, who has all kinds of talent, but he had some off the field issues, and then couldn't get on the field in Jacksonville on a steady basis. The cream of the crop, though, in the AFC South is going to be the Tennessee Titans. How can you go against that 1-2 punch in Jones and A.J. Brown? Yeah. Then you got Henry at the running back. Then you have an outstanding quarterback in Ryan Tannehill, and he wasn't outstanding until he went to Tennessee. You have a solid defense there. They're my pick to win this division. Tennessee, number 1. Jacksonville, number 2. Indianapolis, number 3. And Houston, number 4.
Yeah, Mike, I think, like you said, I mean, the changing of the guard done come here for this division, and I agree. I really do with everything that you had 1 through 4. It's what I have too. The Titans are hard to go up against. They only seem to get better. They're a thorn in the side of Jacksonville. I wrote a story a couple of years ago that Jacksonville rarely beats Tennessee, and when they do, it's never on a Sunday. They have to play them on like a weird day. They play them on Thursday Night Football or something like that, or on a Saturday or something. The Tennessee Titans, the resurrection of Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. A.J. Brown is there. Julio Jones has joined him. On top of that, you bring in help to your offensive line. You bring in help to your defense. Bud Dupree, Harold Landry, my guy from BC, Rashaan Evans, Caleb Farley, and so on and so forth. The Tennessee Titans are adding pieces. They're not deleting pieces. That is why I think a team that's already dangerous is a little more dangerous this year. I said I think Jacksonville could be 8-9. You can't be 500 anymore because of the fact that there's 17 games now. So I think 8-9 is something that Jacksonville can be this year after going 1 in what felt like 1,000 losses last year. Trevor Lawrence is there. Urban Meyer is there. Travis Etienne and James Robinson in your backfield. 2 number 1 guys, I think, for what James Robinson's done and what Travis Etienne has brought in, and we'll see if he can translate that to the NFL. DJ Chark, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, the juniors, all doing their thing. Tavon Austin's here to return punts and kicks and whatnot, and when that's huge, I mean, this man has been in the NFL for a long time, and Urban Meyer goes, give me Tavon Austin. Well, he's got something up his sleeve for Tavon if he's going to bring him in like that. You got positivity, faith, and great speeches coming from Tim Tebow. If nothing else, that's enough for me. You have James O'Shaughnessy back, who I think is underappreciated, and he's had the most longevity as a tight end in Jacksonville. They have depth at offensive line, depth at every part of their defense, and they have guys that can play multiple hand in the dirt or hand out of the dirt in Josh Allen, Caleb Chasen, and having that there for them is huge. Miles Jack playing all over at linebacker. Now they have that. Joe Schobert. Miles has played on the inside. He's playing on the outside. Joe Schobert came in last year from the Cleveland Browns. The biggest question mark for me is Taven Bryan, and if he's going to make it out of his rookie contract, which I don't think he will, in Jacksonville. So, to me, there's a lot of good here. And there's depth here. And there's excitement here. And there's talent here. And there's a coach that did not come back to lose. So, I think, and I agree, that number one, we're going to have Tennessee. Number two, we're going to see Jacksonville come out of the basement of the AFC South and find their way. So I have the Titans 1, the Jaguars 2, and putting them third, the Colts, because of the injury already, and God bless and hope he gets better to Carson Wentz. But that injury doesn't put them above the Texans, who have the graveyard of used-to-be number one running backs with the likes of Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay, and David Johnson. And they don't have a receiver to replace DeAndre Hopkins still because they were stupid enough to let him go. And all the issues with Deshaun Watson and the defense doesn't scare me. So it's got to be Titans, Jaguars, Colts, Texans. And the Texans are bad when the Colts don't have a starting quarterback, and I'm still putting them above them. Mike, next one up, the AFC East. What do you got?
Yeah, this is something that everybody's already talking about. They're already crowning them. You want to crown them? Go ahead and crown them. The Buffalo Bills. This is the team that, is led by Josh Allen. I think they got a 1-2 punch at running back. They got a 1-2 punch at receiver. I don't see a lot going wrong for Buffalo now that the big bad Tom Brady has left this division. And Buffalo looks like a team who's really on the rise. They know this is their opportunity. They know the window is opening. And power around him. He's got receivers. They go ahead and they bring in Waddle, his old college guy. Defense has been an improvement for them over the past couple of years. Then you immediately shift to New England, and you're like, well, no more Tom. And the Patriots didn't look too good last year. So the whole question, is it Tom or is it Belichick? Well, looks like that was answered because Tom went on to the Bucs, who put together a super team and went on to the Super Bowl win. Yeah. Then the Jets. Oh, the Jets. They get rid of Sam Darnold. They bring in Zach Wilson. I think there's going to be a tremendous learning curve there. I'm not confident of where they are at receiver. I'm not confident as to where they are on defense. They let some good players go in recent years. Everything else is a train wreck pretty much for the Jets. So I think the Jets and the Patriots are going to battle it out for that last spot. I'll go ahead and give it to the Jets, though. The Jets will be 4. The Patriots will be 3. The Dolphins will be 2. And the Buffalo Bills, who are already crowned, are going to be able to hang on to it and be number 1 in that division, the AFC East.
Yeah, this division has obviously changed. And like you said, the question of, is it Belichick, is it Brady? Can they survive without each other? Well, Brady answered that by going to a team, like I said, a 4-win basement dweller and bringing them to a Super Bowl. And then you look at Bill Belichick, didn't even make the playoffs. So the Bills are first to me. This is probably the best I've felt about the Bills my entire life since seeing them play with Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas and company, and Eric Moulds. So, I think the blast from the past names in that one. But the Bills, I said it to my buddy Mark Walzik. Shout out to you, Mark. When I said to him, I was like, he's a Bills fan. I said, Bills fans are going to love me this year because this year I feel better about them than I've ever felt. Since Jim Kelly. And as a professional, first time ever, because when Jim Kelly was playing, I was in elementary school. So I'm putting the Bills at first. Second, this one is tough for me. It could be Miami. It could be New England. Hell hath no fury like a Belichick scorned. I'm going to put the Patriots at second. because he made a lot of moves in the offseason. And you got guys coming back. They had the most guys declared not to play due to the COVID virus. So they're back. He brought in Hunter Henry, who's going to be out for a few weeks. God bless, and hopefully he gets back soon from his shoulder injury. Jonnu Smith, questions at running back, questions at wide receiver. I think Mac Jones is going to take over by week 7, but I give them a slight edge over the Dolphins, who I really do hope have a fantastic season this season. I like Tua, Jalen Waddle. I like what they got going on there. Myles Gaskin, somebody that Mike and I told you about a couple years ago. I'm excited to see what the Dolphins can do. I just can't believe that Belichick doesn't have a few tricks up his sleeve, especially with the fact that that man was spending money like it was Monopoly money when free agency and everything opened. And in last place, the Jets, because, well, they're the Jets. And I like that they brought in Zach Wilson. I like some of the moves that they've made. However, the Jets have a lot of questions, not a lot of answers, and they dug themselves such a deep hole it's going to take a lot of time to dig them out. And I think the Dolphins have the best upside from last year to this year. I think the Jets have the biggest question marks. I think the Patriots have question marks, but they still have Belichick, and I think the Bills are the team that's supposed to win. For the first time in a long time, Buffalo feel good about the fact that there's expectation. Now you got to come through with that expectation and do right by it. So I am going to go Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets. Mike, AFC West, what do you got?
Yeah, this is very interesting because you don't know who's the quarterback at Denver. Is it going to be Drew Lock? Is it going to be Teddy Bridgewater? I think they got some talent at receiver there. They got some talent at running back. They have a pretty solid defense. I wouldn't say they're over the top, but they can play with the best of them. So the question mark again is at quarterback, and that shouldn't be the case if you're an NFL team, but that's where you're at with a lot of these teams, and Denver's one of them. Kansas City has the opposite. They have no problem with their quarterback, so I think they're going to be okay with Mahomes. They're going to be okay with their running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and their wide receivers and their improvements on defense. I think they're looking pretty good. Then you look at the Raiders. The Raiders, again, everybody's like, oh, John Gruden. Well, I don't know about the quarterback situation with Derek Carr. And you kind of look at that and you wonder, John Gruden likes to collect quarterbacks. If Carr has a substandard year, is that going to be the case? Well, part of the problem was Henry Ruggs, who they counted on a lot last year. I did some reading between the lines with this one, and basically to be or what route he was supposed to run when you break the huddle oftentimes. That's a bad situation to be in, especially a first-round guy, especially with wheels like he has, 4.29 speed. You can't have that from that guy. And if you do have that from that guy, you line him up and you just tell him, go on a fly pattern every time. You know what? This play, switch it up and run a long post. Run a skinny post here. You can't have that if you want to win games. And the Chargers came out on last year, but as not being I'm forgetting his name. Not so fast, my friend. Justin Herbert. He struggled. He may have a sophomore jinx here. I've seen him ranked as the 7th best quarterback. I've seen him go even higher than that. I've seen him go at 4, the 4th best quarterback. Stop it already. He's still a young guy. The game hasn't slowed down that much to him. So with all those things in mind, I'm going to take Kansas City, of course, to win that division. The Raiders have the easiest schedule. Have the toughest schedule out of the bunch, so I'm going to take them to be cellar dwellers. I got Denver at 3. That leaves the Chargers at 2. So, again, Kansas City is the cream of the crop here in the AFC West.
Yeah, Kansas, it's hard to not go Kansas City, obviously, with everything they have and what they're doing. Mike, give it to us one more time. Number 1, Chiefs, and go from there.
Number 1, Chiefs. Number 2, Chargers. And number 4, the Raiders.
All right, and so Broncos at number 3, Raiders at number 4. And so mine is, the Chiefs, obviously. I don't think that I have to, spoiler alert anybody on that. Of course, the Chiefs, I think, to me, are clear here. There's a lot of teams, like Mike said, this season that have question marks at quarterback, and that's the most important role on your team. arguably, but a lot of people feel that way, I would imagine. And so knowing that Chicago and Detroit and Green Bay, and really, I mean, everybody in the NFC North, and just because of COVID and stuff with Minnesota, and then you go to Carolina, you go to New Orleans, you go to, Philadelphia, you go to Washington, you go to San Francisco, the LA Rams. So a ton of teams, that's just in the NFC. And then you go to the AFC and you say, okay, Big Ben, is he going to stay healthy? Then the Colts with their injuries. Jacksonville's bringing in a new quarterback. We don't know what's happening with Deshaun Watson. In Houston, Zach Wilson is the new quarterback of the Jets. Who's going to be the quarterback of the Patriots? What's Tua going to do with Miami? Then Denver has questions. So, there's a lot. We're looking at half of the league trying to figure out their quarterback situation, if not more. So the Chiefs with Pat Mahomes got to feel good about that. The $50 million a year man on average. Second, I agree with you, Mike. I'm putting the Chargers here. Justin Herbert and company. I think the Chargers are going to have a better year. I think they're going to move up. And I don't know if they're going to catch the Chiefs, get anywhere close to that, but they're going to do some good things this year. I think they're going to shock you a little bit in a positive way, and I got the Chargers at number 2. Number 3, I am a little bit different than Mike here. I got the Raiders here. I think the Raiders finally get to open their stadium with fans. Last year they opened it to nobody, to crickets. This year they get to open the the Space Dome, the alien. I mean, I think they took this thing from Area 51, not too far away, and they have that new stadium in Vegas. The Raiders I have at number 3. And number 4, because of the quarterback woe on what is happening, the Broncos are going to come in at number 4. I like their talent at running back. I like Javonte Williams. I covered him when he was in North Carolina. Had a tremendous season. Him and Michael Carter both had over 1,000 yards, and they were in the same backfield. Michael Carter with the Jets. I like Javonte Williams more than Michael Carter because he's on a different team than the Jets coming into this season, but I think they could both do something as rookie running backs in fantasy football. I like Cortland Sutton coming off of injury. I hope everything goes well for him and Jerry Jeudy. The question is, though, is it Drew Lock? Is it Teddy Bridgewater? Who is it? And I don't believe that someone's going to be consistently the quarterback of the Broncos for all 17 games. So, with that being said, that's why they're 4th. So that's how my AFC West looks. With that being stated, Mike and I have predicted the entire nation's finish. Every division, NFC and AFC, North, South, East, and West for the NFC and the AFC, telling you who we think will finish 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Mr. Sofka, thank you for all the work that you put in at Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com. Winning Fantasy Football, the YouTube page. But I look forward to being in the same room as you, brother.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. And just a quick reminder, fantasy football is a lot more fun when you win. Go to the place where winning is guaranteed. That's Hall of Fame Fantasy Football. You get a cheat sheet for your league, either standard scoring or PPR, for just $6. But if you want to customize that, you want a playoff guarantee, I have premium services as well. So I'm going to give you the information as to when to take a player, their average draft position, how they stand against the mean compared to everyone else at the same position. I'm going to break these guys down into tiers for you, so you know a RB3 and then a wide receiver 2 or vice versa. So there's a lot of things that go on in your draft. Have the best information in front of you. Go to HallOfFameFantasyFootball.com. I'd love to help you win your championship.
Yeah, Colin from Mr. Sofka. Mike, I appreciate you as always, and I look forward to seeing you this coming week.
Sounds great, Dan. Thanks.
All right, take care. That coming from Mike Sofka, once again, at Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com, and, of course, of the Winning Fantasy Football group that you will find on Facebook, as well as Winning Fantasy Football on YouTube. So very much appreciate it, and thank you so much for being a part of the show, Mr. Sofka, inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Open 7 days a week for indoor and outdoor dining, and, of course, for takeout, delivery, and catering. Call 315-487-2222. That's 315-487-2222. We'll take our final step aside of the show, get you set for the rest of the week right after this. as we are here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, is your home for our Liverpool Warriors monthly broadcast featuring the athletic programs, the coaches, and the players of our community. As Avicoli's is within walking distance of Liverpool High School, you can find them as your neighbor of decades in the community of Liverpool on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. They're open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. You can enjoy their restaurant in 4 different ways all throughout this beautiful summer and beyond. You can enjoy their pizza casual side as well as their fine dining, their bar, and their outdoor dining opening as weather permits, which it's been beautiful here, and we've been able to have some dining outside. So you can enjoy that at Avicoli's. And, of course, you can call them for takeout, delivery, and catering at 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. And, of course, you can go for more information to myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding coming to you to help out with your furry-loving friends when you're looking for a place to bring your dog for a day, a few hours, or a week, whatever it may be. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding are your extension of your family. They treat the dogs as if they are their own, all different shapes and sizes, and they make sure that your dog has all their shots and that their temperament is a good temperament. They want you to feel safe with your dog there and your dog around other dogs. Go to Canine Camp Dog Daycare at 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, and right around the corner on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, you will find the campground. You can get more information by going to k-9kamp.com. And for the campground, you can go to k-9kampground.com. PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck you've chased all over Central and Upstate New York because you're always chasing that flavor. The grilled peanut butter and jelly, the Philly cheesesteak wraps, the tots, everything they have to offer at PB&J's Lunchbox. You'll love it so much. Well, now you can go to their Street Side Cafe. When you're craving that food truck, you can now go to their cafe. Their brick and mortar is there for you. Centrally located, minutes from the thruway, the highway, Destiny, USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway. PB&J's Lunchbox is there on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York, and they're open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. in Liverpool at their Street Side Cafe, where you can dine inside or outside, and you can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day. Breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you want, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. And Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, located on 791 West Genesee Street in Skinny Atlas, New York, minutes from Skinny Atlas Lake. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics understands that small steps each day take you to your victory, and they care about every patient and everyone's path to victory. Led by Dr. Mark Petropoli, this team listens to you and they care about what you have to say. It's so hard to find a doctor that will walk you through the process, give you the options, and actually listen to your concerns, your thoughts, and your questions. Dr. Mark Petropoli and his entire team at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, doing simple things like listening and caring, make it such a special place to go to that I've trusted for almost a decade. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, call them up today to schedule an appointment at 315-685-7544. That's 315-685-7544. For preventative care as well as rehab, physical therapy, and surgery, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics has you covered from head to toe. 315-685-7544. With that being stated, of course, Fantasy Football Power Hour, and I want to thank Mr. Mike Sofka for all the amazing things he does every day for fantasy football. Big shout out to Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com, the Winning Fantasy Football YouTube page, and Winning Fantasy Football on Facebook. With that being stated, thanks to Mike, thanks to Donovan, thank you to you. Above all, thank you to the big upstairs. Thank you to God. Thank you to all my family and friends and all my supporters and my great partners in the community. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, with plenty coming up this week. You can listen on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and you can watch and listen on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on facebook.com/livenowdt. Once the shows go live, they jump into the archives, and you can follow any one of these archives: Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on any one of these avenues, and you will get us, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, for free. The library of archived episodes all throughout Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, all these wonderful places. And, of course, you can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to find us, or search Wake Up Call DT, one word. Wildcat Sports Pub, Millhouse Market, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, Canine Camp Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, Progressive Dental, PB&J's Lunchbox, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, all of our proud partners in the community. Go to maandpazpopcorn.com today and use my promo code DT20 in any one of the 50 states, and they will deliver your favorite flavor of kettle corn with 20% off. DT20 at maandpazpopcorn.com. In the meantime, this is Wake Up Call from the Cafe Kubal Studios. You stay well, stay blessed, and stay safe. Please be good to each other, and always, always, always remember to be good to yourself as well. Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, as well as inside at Galisanos Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and, of course, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. And you can find them on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners with their newest and first ever location that brings you their drive-thru experience, Cafe Kubal. I appreciate y'all. Find me on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. I will be in Binghamton. We are bringing my high school Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora live on-site, on-location high school specials. We are bringing it to the Southern Tier, and I cannot wait to be there. We will be in Endwell, New York today, brought to you by Progressive Dental. We'll be there at their Endwell location with the main Endwell football team, head coach Matt Gallagher, and a bunch of their player representatives. I cannot wait to bring Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on-site, on location, to the Southern Tier, and we will be showcasing Maine Endwell for the inaugural broadcast with Sonny Spira and myself, Dan Tortora, in something we're calling Sonny and D, a product of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So I'll see you in Binghamton, and you'll be able to watch me on worldwide on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. So everybody that wants to watch it tonight, August 11th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Southern Tier, Maine Endwell at the Progressive Dental Endwell location. We'll be with the football team of Maine Endwell with Sonny Spira and I hosting, speaking with Matt Gallagher and his player representatives from Maine Endwell football. Can't wait to be out there with the Spartans. Can't wait to see you making history today, baby. And I'm very excited about it. So God bless to all of that, and God bless, no stress, do your best to all of us, as always. I'll talk with you soon. This is Wake Up Call, and you are amazing.